Hello and welcome to the Marin Sonoma Shop Local podcast, where we highlight local Marin County and Sonoma County businesses, their products, and their services so you can make the informed choice of where to shop local next. I'm your host, Kyle Mashable, here with Jeff Lewis, owner of Landescape Visuals, based in Novato in Marin County. Jeff, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for having me on here. It's great to be on.
It's our pleasure, and you have so much. You're unique, to say the least, and your work has been blowing people away. And we'll give out the website to check out all your work as we get deeper into this episode. But give me a little kind of overview of what you provide as a landscape photographer in the Bay Area.
Sure thing. So, in one sentence, I take photos that are like nothing you've ever seen before. I print them to fill your empty wall space. And I help other photographers get their dream shots. My partner Tung and I, we have over 20 years of combined experience as professional photographers, and we actually do several things. So first, we make prints of my work, which I don't know if you can see because it'll blur, but you'll be able to see one. We make fine art prints and canvas wraps, which we make entirely in house. We exhibit at local art and wine festivals, craft fairs, and also right here in our Novato studio. Second, we help other photographers. Our flagship service is a weather service for photographers, which I'm sure we'll discuss more later. Basically, we tell other photographers where and when to go to get the best photos. We also develop and we sell custom camera profiles for color correction, just tools that you won't find anywhere else.
Well, that's great. So people can invest not only in your work, but they could learn how you do it. And I think
Yep.
that's something special because it's more than just showcasing
Yeah.
yourself. You're helping others be better, at work that you're known for. And I think it's funny when it's
Yeah.
like, here's what I do, here's what I've made a living on, and I'm going to show you how to do it too in the same
Sure.
area. So it's
Yeah.
I
Huge
think it's
passion.
great.
I've taught a lot in the past. So I've taught other subjects, taught math. I've been a park ranger, so I have a lot of kind of education in my background. So it's really helped, and it's a huge passion of mine.
Absolutely. I know in my field I've had interns and things too, and you train them to do exactly what you do. And to be honest, I've had interns that it's like if they come out better than me, that would be pretty awesome to be a part of that.
Exactly.
So I'm sure
Yeah,
you feel
especially
the
when they
same
take
way.
it and they run with it. Yeah, especially when someone takes it and runs with it and does something. They make it their own. That's the best.
Exactly. So your work has been featured in a lot of things, not just here in Marin County in the Bay Area or in California, really internationally. So can you kind of tell the listeners some of the places your work has been showcased?
Sure. So here's a few. Well, I guess you might have seen me on the current episode of Marin Living magazine. I have photos on the cover, and we have a 12-page feature in there. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. That's our third time on the cover of Marin Living. So they're a great magazine, great team. We've been on the cover of Marin Magazine, the official California Visitors Guide. We have a couple big like double spreads in there. We were first place in the Marin County Fair. We were voted best artist in Marin in the Pacific Sun. Others like Sierra Club, Backpacker Magazine, Microsoft, UCLA, Nature Conservancy. Yeah, it's a long list. We also partner with the Marin Agricultural Land Trust, you may know them as MALT, and we're their photographers. So we get to meet all the landowners and tell their stories, and that's been an amazing thing.
So you said the current issue of Marin Living, and anyone
Yeah.
can listen to this podcast at any time. So can you tell them exactly which issue it is that you're talking about, month and
Yes,
year?
of course. It's the January and February that's combined issue for 2024, and it's also I believe April 2023. There should be a green photo on the cover, and then either January or February 2023 as well.
I know I've seen your work when you were on the cover. Was that last year or either 2 years ago with Marin Magazine?
Oh, Marin Mag, yeah, I think that was 2 years ago. That one was on Terra Linda Ridge. It was a photo of two people hiking and walking their dogs. I love that one. They did a great
I
job with that cover.
I believe I know that because I advertised for my business in that same. Uh, I was
That's
not on the
awesome.
cover, so two
I'll have to
different
take a look
things
at
there.
that.
Yeah, yours
Yeah,
is
we
a
have that
little more
magazine at
impressive.
our room. Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
You alluded to it earlier. You have your background in
Yeah.
meteorology, kind of telling photographers where to go, and that's something
Mm.
that has always stuck out to me that I've known about you is you know when and where to get the shot. So tell me how that has aided you in being able to get the shots that you do for your work.
It's almost like cheating, right?
Yeah,
So
it
yeah,
really is.
my degree is in meteorology. I graduated from UCLA as a Regents scholar there, which basically means like when I came in, they decided I was in the top 1% of my class by whatever measure they use. My degree is in atmospheric and oceanic sciences, which I specialize in meteorology. Basically, I forecast the weather, and I went on to be an artist. So really, where does that come in? Well, actually, I'm a meteorologist too. And it turns out light is the most important part of a photographic moment. If I want to break that down, so what does the word photograph even mean? Well, photograph, it comes into it's two Latin roots, right? We have photo and graph. And photo means, you can probably guess, light, and graph means to write. So photograph literally means writing with light. So, photograph, writing with light. Light is the most important thing. And that's what I forecast. Have you ever, maybe you've seen one of those like amazing sunsets, where the whole sky just kind of like lights up with these amazing colors and you just like, you have to stop what you're doing and snap a photo?
Hmm.
Well, it's actually possible to forecast those. And that's what we do. And not just for ourselves, but we do it for other photographers too. So we have a weather service, and Tung and I actually we have a U.S. patent on our process for forecasting those really colorful and dramatic skies and fog and just all these really cool elements that you'll see all over my pictures that they just allow you to take just these amazing photos. They just give you these great opportunities.
That's amazing. And you prompted a question in my head with that. And for those of you who are curious about how some businesses interact here, Jeff and I have met at different networking functions in Marin County. And something that he told me about a year or so ago when we first chatted, you had a picture that was four blocks that were going across the wall.
Mhm.
And you had
Yeah.
told me that you take X amount of shots in a matter of seconds and you make it all come together and look as one.
Mm.
Can you talk about all the detail that goes into that picture and maybe explain what the hell it is I'm talking about and not explaining
Yeah,
why?
that's a great question. So you're talking about it, but it's about I've printed it at about 10 to 11 feet for a lot of people. We've also done it smaller for people, 7, 8 feet. We just installed one probably last week, and that photo is called Awakening. And what I do for a lot of these prints that photos that I make into really big prints, normally if you were to take a photo, a single picture, and you try to blow it up several 10 feet, right? It's huge. What you're going to end up with is fuzzy, pixely. It just doesn't doesn't look good, right? So I do things a little differently. I'm actually part of a collective called Vast, and there's about 30 of us, and there's about 30 of us who are certified. The collective's based in New York, but I'm their only one in California. And what we do is we effectively take panoramic sorts of things, and we sometimes even do like a grid with multiple layers, and that gets us tons of detail that we can use to make huge prints. So, and I don't want it to sound like this is kind of a concoction, right? It's something where you could stand there with your phone and you could point it at this scene and the photo would look like that. It's just if you want to make the huge prints, then you'll often need to use special techniques like that. So we call them vast photos, and not every one of my photos is a vast photo, but a lot of them are. And there's a lot that goes into it because with the one that you're talking about, Kyle, with all the fog, and like the fog is
Mhm.
moving. So if I'm taking multiple pictures, I have to be really quick because I just got to go bam, 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 and otherwise it's changed too much. The light might be different. It could even just be gone. So it's there's a lot that goes into it, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a good place to put that kind of it's a good place to put that passionate energy to making things perfect.
Absolutely. And I think perfect is the word because, like you said, you're getting pictures when fog is literally moving, but you
Yeah,
somehow bring this entire view of whatever it is. Like, I think this one is it the Golden Gate, this picture that I'm
yeah,
remembering?
yeah.
So
It's
you
got
have
the
the
Golden
Golden
Gate in the
Gate with fog
background.
moving. Anyone
Yeah,
who's from the area knows Carl comes in all directions and all forces and never stops. So to be able to take
Exactly.
multiple pictures and bring it into one 10-foot or more picture and make it look like one, I think it
Yeah,
takes
and
a
when
talent.
you're printing that big, you can't hide behind anything, right? There's if there's
Exactly.
any imperfections, you're gonna see them.
So you're putting all this work into the pictures that you're getting for your clients. Can you tell me a time when you were blown away by a client's reaction to the work you presented to them?
Yeah, I think I'd like to share a story. So I need to. I have an email. I got it last year. Gonna read it to you. So it says, "I'd love to purchase two prints of the cover of the Marin of Marin. Sorry, I'd like to purchase two prints of the cover of Marin magazine. This particular trail has been my favorite hike for the last 20 years. Last year, I was going through chemotherapy and I had this photo by my side during the worst parts of my treatment. Having a powerful reminder of this trail by my side helped, knowing it was just a matter of time before I'm hiking once again on my most treasured path." I thought that was really powerful. I sold a print of a photo to someone else, and they had a home in Paradise that burned down in the huge fires, I believe, in 2017. And I had this photo. It was a lone oak tree on a rolling hill, and the hills in the background, they were all burned down and charred to a crisp from it was a huge forest fire the previous
Mhm.
year. But the hill in the foreground, it was all green and it was all lush and green and young green grass sprouting. And they were staring at the photo and they told me their story and they said this is a symbol of hope for them, like resilience, rebuilding. And they bought a print for their new house that they were rebuilding, and I thought that was really special too. I i just love the ways that people connect with my work, and I think it's everyone does it in their own way, and I think it can be really powerful to share those stories.
That's amazing. And, you know, it's true. You never know who you're having an effect on. And I don't think
Never
you
know.
worked with Marin Magazine and said, this is the impact I'm going to have. You're obviously proud of the work
Exactly.
that you're on the cover of a magazine. Marin Magazine is always a beautiful magazine. And
Yeah.
to have someone say that to you, that your work made an impact, it's, yeah, a
Yeah,
big
and I
impact
think
at this. It made
yeah,
this guy happy in the worst time of his life. It's something special.
yeah, I think there's something there's something about the emotion that you can bring into your work that will drive people to have these kinds of connections with it, where it's more than just taking a pretty picture. It's how you try to add something, right? Like I could have just taken a picture of the trail, but instead I took it with the people walking their dogs, with the golden light, which really allows you to place yourself into the into that photo and have that experience. You're no longer just looking at something pretty, but you're hearing a story and you're relating to it. So I find that to be much more powerful experience. It's like when you watch a movie or you listen to your favorite song, it's it's often a powerful experience, right? You'll learn the singer's story, you'll learn what the animators or the filmers were the directors were trying to say, and you'll often be able to relate to it. It'll remind you of something in your own life, and I think that's really powerful, and that's something that I try to do in my own art. And I think a lot of people think of, oh, you take a picture of something, you snap a photo, and it's almost people think of it as more of a craft. I think of it as an art. It's an art form, and it does require technical expertise and mastery of the craft. But the things you can do when you approach it as an art, they're just so much more powerful, and you can get people to have these kinds of experiences. So that's what my real passion is about.
And you bring up a good point of you could have just taken a picture of the trail, but you were well
Yeah,
intentioned in what
yeah,
you were taking that picture of, and it was more than just take a picture of the trail. It looks nice, but people can place
yeah.
themselves in this spot. Like how many people have walked their dogs
Mhm.
there that are like, "Oh, I remember that."
Exactly,
It's
exactly.
you're right. It brings back memories. It brings back a personal attachment, and
Yeah,
you know, Marin
that's
County
the goal.
is.
Yeah.
Or I'll say both Marin and Sonoma. More so, I'm from the East Coast, New Jersey,
Mhm.
Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Florida, and now living in California. This area of the country takes more pride in where they're from than anyone. So your work
Totally.
really does just it brings them home, and it's something that they take pride in.
Yeah, that was one of the first things we noticed when we moved up here a couple years ago from the South Bay as well. It's just everybody loves it here. And well, we do too. That's why we're here. And I think part of what makes it so special is that it's this combination that it's so beautiful up here and you get to live here, right? Like there are other places in the world where you can have big mountains, and there are other places in the world where you can see the fog coming in. There are other places in the world where you can drive 15 minutes and you're at the beach.
Hmm.
But to have all of that in one place and to be able to actually live here, that's something else.
Absolutely.
So
And
I try to capture that in my photos, right? Where you can walk your dogs, I can show the houses, I'll show all these things that remind me of actually being here and living here.
I love that. And I know anyone who's listening to this is going to be like, I want that guy taking my picture because he gets it. So
Right?
this kind of brings me up to a good
Yeah.
point. And you go to Target and you see a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, and
Mhm.
it's, why not get
Yeah.
this little 2 for $5 print from Target? And you've been talking about it for, what are we at, 15, 16 minutes now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess tell me what makes your work so special from Landescape Visuals that just makes it so worth the purchase. And
It's a great
I know,
question.
yeah.
It's a really, really good question, and it's something that maybe some photographers will get asked. Interestingly, I don't get asked that. I don't get asked this kind of question very much, and I think these are two very different things. The Golden Gate framed photo that you'll see for $5.99 at Target, it's a poster. It's mass produced on low quality printers with lower quality materials from a stock photo. It's wall art. And what we do is fine art. It's something very different. We start with these emotional photos that you'll connect with, and we help you find the perfect one for your space. We'll hop on Zoom, we do house visits, all complimentary, by the way, and we tailor make the print to that space. So it's just a really different experience. And Cal, let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with that framed picture of the Golden Gate Bridge from Target. If someone wants a pretty poster of the Golden Gate Bridge and they want to spend $9, that's awesome. They're they're not my client, but that's awesome. This is, to me, it's like asking a Michelin chef what their opinion is on Taco Bell, right? That there's a time and a place in the world for both, right? I can appreciate those posters, and there might have been a time and place in my life where I would have put that on my own wall. Um, but they're just two very different products. And that said, our work, it's not as expensive as you might think. Our fine art prints, we make these 8x12s, and they start at just $40. We home make them. They make amazing gifts, entirely in house. We also make coffee table books, which we also design. They also make amazing gifts. So we have a lot. Kind of, we decided to kind of cater to, we wanted our art to be accessible to everyone as much as possible, and we didn't want to just make it just these $10,000 prints. We want it to be accessible to everyone. So
Hmm.
we do both. We do have these collector pieces where we do limited editions of just 10 or 20, and those ones are really special. I'm looking at one above me right now. But we do these much smaller pieces, and we love those too. In fact, I have one right here that I could. This is a. I hope it doesn't blur it out on the video. This is a 12 by 18 that we printed, and we just do all those in house. So yeah, we have something for everyone.
So when you're talking about all these things you do for an individual client, and I think, like you said, so many pictures are mass produced and
Yeah.
kind of thrown up. You have someone who says, Jeff, this view I had with my wife 15 years ago has just always been our
Mhm.
favorite. And are you able to go and be like, okay, so I know the weather
Yeah.
in 2 weeks or so, things might clear up a bit, and this is the exact view he wants. Do you do those individualized pictures where they say, I was at this exact spot when we took our
Yeah.
engagement pictures 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
we want you to get like the same picture we haven't seen, it's never been clear since. How do you get that shot? Do you work with them kind of to get
Yeah.
that perfect shot of that
Yeah. We do some
exact
commission stuff.
face?
Yeah, we do commission stuff. Sometimes we don't even have to charge for it because maybe it's a shot that I I wanted to get myself anyway. We learn a lot of really cool spots that way. Sometimes people are like, "Hey, I have an amazing view from my deck. Can you come take a picture of it?" And we're like, "We love that." So we do that. We do that kind of stuff. We do it a lot on private ranches where they have some of these amazing views, amazing
Mhm.
scenery, and just these stories that are worth telling. There's so these rich histories of these places. So yeah, we love sharing stories. And sometimes we might have a similar photo where we'll have people who are we'll chat with them, and maybe their experience could be carried over into something very similar. Maybe they love hiking on the trails in this area, and maybe I don't have a photo from that exact spot, but maybe I have one from further up the hill that kind of captures that same spirit that they wanted, and that one will work for them. So I'll talk. The way a consultation usually goes is I won't necessarily ask someone, what do you want a picture of? I'll ask them things like, hey, what are your favorite places in Marin or Sonoma? And what are your favorite things to do? What is special to you about this place? And that, from their answers and then we can start narrowing it down. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
well, what about this? And, if they mention they love hiking, maybe we want a trail to be in the photos so they can feel like they're actually there, right? So we do stuff like that, and we really try to make the photo theirs. It's something that only they would have had in their house.
Like you said, you're not just taking a picture, you're telling a story, and you just showcase
Exactly.
that to the max there. That you didn't just take an idea that they had, you wanted to find what was personal to them to get the best picture. That's not just the best for your camera, but the best to really make that person happy and give them that memory.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's our goal.
So, real quick, if you could give me,
Sure.
I'm going to ask for two here. So, I'm going to ask you, what's the best
Yeah.
compliment you've ever been given? One from someone who you've sold your artwork to, but then you also talked about Escape, how you're teaching photographers. So, give me the best compliment you've ever gotten from a student as well.
It's a great question. Um, I will say the best way to experience our work is to see our prints in person. And there's like you can look at them on a screen if you're on a little phone screen or even a laptop. It's nice, but there's nothing that compares to seeing it in person. So we've had several people come to our art festivals. We exhibit a lot. We exhibit at the Novato Art and Wine Festival. We've done Mill Valley for a couple of years. Do lots of craft festivals. We love doing this stuff, and we've had a lot of people just see our booth from across the hall or down the street, and we see their jaw drop. And a few of them, they've told us about these walls that they've empty walls that they've had in their house for like 5 years, 7 years, even 10 years, and how they've been looking everywhere for like the perfect piece for their wall, and it's been blank for 7, 10 years, and they point at ours and they're like, "That's it. I'm done. My search is over." And it's an amazing feeling for us, and for them. We we love, like, we'll often come over to their place, we'll hang it for them, and it's just amazing to get to share those stories and see the before and after just transformation that their space goes through. It's really it's almost like they add another window to their house when it goes on the wall, and it's really special.
I was talking to somebody who bought a piece of art from you, and they said you came over, hung it up, and you signed it right then and there. You didn't do it all beforehand. You did it right in front of them, and I
We
loved
love
how
doing that.
personal you made that for them.
Yeah, that's part of our it's part of our personal touch. I try not to sign a lot of our prints in advance. Some of them, if I have it in inventory, I may have it signed. But if I custom make it, I'll almost always sign it right in front of them because I think it's more special.
It is. I think it shows you care too.
Yeah,
That it was right then
yeah.
and there, and you're kind of finishing the job right there in front of them before you put it up.
Yeah, and now that we do everything in house with our own printer, it's like we actually tongue like, for the canvas wraps, like tongue mills the wood for the frames and
Oh
everything.
wow,
So we stretch them. We do everything in house for them, and we'll send people pictures of the print as it's coming out and stuff. So
that's
they feel
nice.
like they're part of the process, and I think that's really important because I don't like place. it's we live in this world where like you can just you can order something online and it just shows up at your door, and you don't feel like you're part of the process. And I think once you are, it connects you to it. And I love that. I love having that, and I love sharing it with everyone else.
Oh, and you absolutely do, and that passion shows in just
Yeah.
the littlest, most subtle ways, and it's making all the difference. I'm sure for your clients
Yeah.
of knowing that that picture
Yeah.
was especially for them is a special feeling.
Yeah. So I guess to answer the second part of your question, so I've taught hundreds of photographers over the years, and one thing that I've actually heard multiple times is that I've had a couple people who have told me that taking a session with me is the best thing they've ever done as a photographer. And this has come from someone who went on to be they've been on the cover of the LA Times, they've been in the Washington Post, they've been on the New York Times, and they've just recently they won a very prestigious photo award, and we've also grown together into dear friends along the way. So it's been a really special journey with several of our clients. We have a lot of people who come over to our place. We teach them post processing. I'll teach them Lightroom, Photoshop, the ways I bring the light to life in my photos. And spoiler alert, it's not as difficult as you might think. And it it doesn't require any of these crazy advanced methods that photographers are using, and it's fun. So I love opening people's eyes to this whole new world. It's really different than a lot of the stuff you'll find on YouTube and even other photographers like paid sessions. So yeah, we love doing that. We try to open people's eyes and their minds to the possibilities that they can do something together,
Mhm.
and take take what I give them and run with it in their own direction. I think that's when it's really special.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to move on to our local
Sure.
rapid fire section. And since you're a Novato based business, I'm going to be asking you about some of your favorite places and things to do in Novato. And this round of local rapid fire is presented by Sonoma Marin Senior Fitness, the North Bay's premier service providing specialized personal training geared toward our Marin and Sonoma County seniors right in the comfort of your own home. Visit sonomarinseniorfitness.com so your loved ones can stay active and live vibrantly. So we're going to jump into our questions here. And first is, what's your favorite place to eat in Novato? Could be breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
I was hoping you were going to ask about places to eat. Um, can I give you one that's just over in San Rafael because I think they deserve a special mention?
Give me one in Novato and then give me
I'll
the
give you
San
one
Rafael one.
Nevada. I consider myself a cheesecake connoisseur, and this there is one place in Novato that a lot of people don't know about, and it's this little brother and sister place, I believe brother and sister, called John and Jill's Cheesecake, and they're incredible. I hope if you haven't given them a try, you definitely need to. They're open, I believe, Monday to Friday, 8 to 3, and they're just right down by the Humane Society. And
That was quite the shout out there, and here's their hours too.
they are. I know because it would be dangerous for me if they were open late at night because I would just walk right down there and I'd be eating it every night.
All right, what's the San Rafael spot?
San Rafael Spot is Lou's Takeaway. It's a little it's honestly it's a little shack, and they make this amazing food, and I love it because both of these they're small businesses, local, made in house. It's just what we
Mhm.
do. It's the way we love to do things, and I love those kind of businesses. I think it's what makes our town special. So had to give them a
And
shout out.
this next question, you're probably going to want to run with it in a million different directions. So I'm saying this has to be Novato.
Okay,
What's your favorite view in Novato?
I'm gonna go with the very top of Big Rock. You know where the radio towers are up there. It's
Mhm.
a good hike. You can get there several different ways. You can get there from the Novato side, from the Marinwood side, just anywhere on top of that ridge. You just get these amazing views. If you go up there in the morning, it can sometimes be like this blanket of fog beneath you. It's such a special place. You can see Mount Tam. You can see the city. You can see all of Novato. You can see all the way into the North Bay, up into Petaluma, Sonoma. You can see so much, and I think it's a really special place.
Did Jeff the park ranger just come out?
I think so.
Going back to the old days. Other than your own business, what's your favorite business in Novato?
Oh man, I just gave you two of them. I those two are two of my favorites. I also have a we have a great network of local business professionals. I mean, you can ask us for anything. We know a handyman who won't let you down. I know a boutique hair salon. Know a great web designer and branding expert. Many of these people have also won similar awards, like the best of Marin. Sometimes how we meet these people. So yeah, happy to connect you with any of these.
Give me one for the podcast, man.
One for the podcast. I got to shout out to Susanna Gratch. She's this amazing website designer, and she's built a couple of my clients' websites, and she's done an amazing job.
Where does she work at? Does she own her own business, or does she work out of a?
Yeah, she works. She works. I guess mainly remotely for anyone in the county, at
Okay.
either county in the whole North Bay.
Is her business just Susanna Gratz? If I Google that, that'll come up.
It's Inspiring Promotions.
Gotcha. Inspiring
Yeah,
promotions.
yeah.
And what's your favorite event in Novato?
Favorite event that man, I want to say the Art and Wine Festival, but I'm also biased because I exhibit in it. Um, but I think it's an amazing event, and whether you go to see us, you go to the music is great. It's just such a lively event. I really had a great time there. There's a couple of other they do these summer art, not art, summer music like performances, or these bands will come out. I think there was a
Mhm.
'90s cover band that came out. They were really good. They did a couple down in Hamilton last year, so a lot of that stuff's really fun. I love these things because you get to meet your neighbors, and it's it's like we live in this digital world, and we don't always get to meet our neighbors. And I don't know, do you know all your neighbors? Do you know the people who live 10 houses down from you? I know some of them, but like it's really cool when you get to go out to these places and you get to meet everyone. So I definitely would recommend going to some of these events for anyone who hasn't. They're a lot of fun.
I agree. And this is our third, as of right now, as of this
Yeah,
recording, you're the third Novato business on the podcast, and all
nice,
three have said the Art and Wine Festival. So I don't think you're
nice,
biased. I think you're spot on. But I am
awesome. I
biased in
love
saying
that.
that.
I love that.
And is there anything in Novato that you haven't done that's on your wish list?
We got some more restaurants to try. There's always some new ones popping up. And there's a bunch of cool shops in downtown too, and it was a new board game place that just opened that we've been meaning to check out. Um, we cook a lot at home, so cooking's another one of my passions. So we don't actually get to eat out that much, so we kind of like we have to be deliberate about it. Usually, when we have friends over and stuff. But otherwise, yeah, that's definitely something I'd love to check out.
All right. And before
And
we
also love to do a
head,
little more. Sneak one more thing in. I'd love to do a little more mountain biking in here. We do have bikes, and it's one of those things where we're always like, we should do this more, and we haven't gotten to do it as much as we want to. So I got to get back out there.
yeah, we all
So
have those
I'll say
things.
this to put myself on the spot and make. Then you can play this recording in front of me and ask me if I went.
There we go. I might know some trainers and strength coaches to help you out with that.
That would be awesome.
So before we head off here, where can our listeners find you?
Great question. So you can find my stuff at online. We do our website. We have landescapevisuals.com. So it's like landscape, but with an extra E. So landescapevisuals.com. We have a good amount of work there, just accessible to the public. If you want to see any more, just shoot us an email off the website. We'll get you a password that gets you into some VIP galleries. Just say you heard from us on the Bay Fitness or this Sonoma Marin podcast, and we'll take care of you. I don't share on Instagram. I don't do social media anymore. We used to be pretty big on there, but back in 2016, I quit it all. I left for many reasons, for mental health. I just don't think the heavy use of social media is good for us, especially when it's something as personal as like sharing your photos that you've taken, especially when you put so much
Mhm.
emotion into them. So I didn't think it was working for what I wanted, and so here we are now. So I'm not really part of that process, but you can find us online. You can find us at many of the local art festivals. If you're seeing this before mid-February, we're going to be at the Marin Arts and Crafts Fair in late February. That's near where the county fair is, and that main exhibit hall there. We'll be in the Novato Arts and Wine Festival in June, which, as you know, is an amazing event.
Hmm.
Hopefully back in Mill Valley. So we do a lot of these festivals, and you'll find us at a lot of those.
Okay, great. And this podcast is all about highlighting local businesses. Is there one Marin or Sonoma County based business that you think deserves an extra shout out for the work that they do?
Can I repeat some of the businesses I've given you?
Give me one business, and I want you to dive in. Tell me why you're picking them.
I'm going to pick that cheesecake place again. They're amazing. They're
What was
great
it called
people
again?
too. John and Jill's. They're right
And,
here in
and what
Novato,
and what were their hours?
8 to 3, Monday to Friday.
I'll have to tag
They're
them
so
when
nice. You can
I
talk to
post
them.
this.
Yeah, they have so many different flavors. It's different every time you come in. I really recommend them.
Well, from we will sign off with that. Anyone who goes there, enjoy your cheesecake. I don't know if he sold his services more or John and Jill's cheesecake more, but either way, you're getting good work from both of them. But I'm Kyle Masterful signing off from the Marin Sonoma. Cheesecake has got me going all over the place. Top local
See,
podcast.
of
And thank you again, Jeff, for popping on. And we look forward to hopefully
course.
having you back in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.